What's up guys? So today I'm going to be veganizing one of my favorite YouTubers' dinners, and this idea came to me because I was just watching a bunch of YouTube videos like I do, and I was watching some Allana Davison's videos, and she's not a vegan, but she inspires me so much, especially when I'm feeling super lazy. Like, you know when you have those days where you just do not want to wash your face or you cannot be bothered to put makeup on? That is when I watch Allana's videos because she loves makeup and she loves skincare, and literally after watching like one or two of her videos, I'm in the bathroom like scrubbing, or I'm like putting like 3 coats of mascara on because she does something to my brain that like motivates me and really wants me to put a little more effort into myself, which makes me feel really good. So I always watch her videos and find that they're really inspiring. And recently she did a video where she showed what she eats over the course of 3 days. And like I said, she's not vegan, but a lot of the stuff she eats is vegan. And she made this dinner that looked really good. So I thought it would be fun to try to recreate that at home, but just do a vegan version. I was hoping it would be kind of inspirational for you guys because not only am I going to be showing you a recipe, but I'm also going to be showing you kind of how I think about things when I look at a non-vegan magazine or a recipe cookbook, or even when I'm out at a restaurant and I see something that looks really good. I will use that as kind of like a starting point and then go home and recreate it in a vegan way. So hopefully that will inspire you guys to do the same, and I hope you guys love this recipe because it turned out really good. So this is what we're working with. She basically put together a plate with quinoa, some salmon on top of that, a lemon sauce on top of the salmon, and then some broccolini and sauteed tomatoes. And my version is very similar. I have some broccoli, some roasted tomatoes, some grilled tofu, and a really flavorful quinoa. And I actually made the exact same sauce that she did. I just added some fresh herbs, but this was actually a vegan sauce that she made. So a lot of what she made was already vegan. It was just a matter of kind of making some simple swaps, and then I also kind of made mine a little bit lower fat and tried to sneak in some extra flavor here and there where I could. So I'm going to start by making the quinoa, and for this you're going to need 2 cups of water, and then I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And this is a little trick that I learned from watching Deliciously Ella's videos. She does this to her quinoa to kind of make it really savory, and I love it because you don't have to add any extra oil or vegan butter. You can just add a splash of vinegar to your quinoa and it just makes it taste so good. I also do about a pinch of sea salt and bring that up to a boil. And then we're going to add our quinoa, and this is a tri-colored quinoa, but you can use any kind of quinoa you like. And quinoa is great because it's gluten-free, it's got tons of protein, lots of fiber, and it just kind of completes any meal. This does make more than 1 serving. This makes about 2 to 3 servings of quinoa, but I figure if you're making quinoa, might as well make a little extra, and that way you have to throw on salads or as a side dish throughout the week. So then you're going to add that to the boiling water, give it a stir, and then cover it for about 15 minutes until all the water is absorbed. And in the meantime, I'm going to move on to the veggies. So she sauteed some tomatoes in olive oil, which is totally something you can do, but I decided to kind of lower the fat content a little bit and just roast these. I sprayed my pan with a little bit of cooking spray. This is a coconut oil cooking spray that I get from Trader Joe's. It's just a tiny little mist, which I think makes a huge difference with A, not sticking, and B, it adds quite a bit of flavor. So I do that, and then I kind of sprinkle on some dried thyme and black pepper. You don't have to bother with salt because the other things in the dish are going to have plenty of salt. So I just pop that in the oven at 375 for about 5 to 10 minutes until they're nice and roasted, and I'm going to move on to the tofu. So I just get this at my regular grocery store. This is an organic, super firm tofu, and the extra firm kind is really the only kind of tofu that I like because I feel like the texture is kind of like almost like a block mozzarella or like a firm feta cheese, and I really like that. And you can go ahead and press this if you want to get some of the moisture out. That will help make it a little more crispy. But even when I ate meat before, I've never been a fan of like dry, crispy things. I've always liked foods that have a bit of moisture and kind of a nice texture. So I just leave it as is. I just cut it straight out of the package and go ahead and season it. And to season this, I'm just going to do some salt and some pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, and some dried Italian seasoning. And this is just to kind of get a nice thin layer of seasoning over the top. You could also do lemon pepper or Old Bay seasoning, anything that you would traditionally season a fish with would be really good with this too. So you can kind of get creative with your seasonings. One thing I will recommend though is that you press the seasonings into the tofu, because we're not using any oil or anything in this dish, so you want to make sure that you kind of press it down so that they stick really nicely and you get a nice flavorful bite. I like to spray the pan with a little bit of cooking spray and then let these cook on each side for about 2 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. And then at that point my quinoa was done, so I gave it a fluff with my fork and then added about 1/4 cup of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. And this is not something that Allana did, but I love to do this with quinoa because it adds so much flavor and a really nice pop of color, and it's just super easy to kind of just throw sun-dried tomatoes into quinoa or into rice dishes. It takes like 3 seconds and it adds a ton of flavor, so it's a little trick from me to you. And at this point it was ready to plate. Oh, while everything was cooking, I also steamed up some broccoli, which I will show you here in a second. So I'm just going to add my quinoa to a plate, and you want to do a generous portion and then add your grilled tofu on top. And I did eat all 4 pieces, but I didn't have room on my plate and I wanted it to look pretty for you guys. So if you're wondering what happened to the 4th piece, it did get eaten, don't you worry. Then I'm going to add the broccoli, which I just seasoned with some sea salt and crushed red pepper, which sounds really simple because I mean it is, but it really tastes delicious. It's a really great flavor combination, and it really kind of lightens up the dish because I'm not sauteing with olive oil. I'm just kind of steaming it and then tossing it together, and you'd be surprised how flavorful it turns out, especially when you add the roasted tomatoes, which seriously turned out so delicious. And I really recommend trying this even if you don't like tomatoes. I know a lot of people don't, but there's something about roasting them that really changes the flavor and even the consistency. So if you're not a tomato fan, I would try it this way before foregoing the tomatoes in this recreation, because it seriously adds a ton of flavor. This sauce is so good. I actually didn't change her recipe at all. This is exactly what she did. She used a vegan mayo, she used a little bit of fresh lemon juice and some salt and pepper, and she said that she ordinarily adds dill, but she didn't happen to have any that day, so I did, and I added the dill, and oh, she was right. It's amazing. I did a little bit less mayo than she did, so my sauce was a little bit thinner, so if you want a thicker one, just add a little bit more sauce. She was so money with this flavor combination, you guys. This literally tastes so good. All these flavors are so yummy together, and even if you try the lightened up version, I think you guys are absolutely gonna love it. It's comforting, and I think Allana would approve. So that is it for this recipe, and I would love to know whose dinner I should veganize next. So if you guys are watching a YouTube video or you have a favorite YouTuber and you want me to veganize their dinner, let me know in the comments. But I will say I have no intentions of bashing anyone's food choices or dinner ideas. The point of veganizing these dinners is just really for fun and for inspiration, and to show you guys that with just a couple little tweaks, you can really take anything and make it into a healthier vegan meal. And I think that that's really cool. And so I really want this to be a positive thing, a fun thing, almost like a challenge, like can you veganize this? So let me know whose dinner you want to see veganized next, and I will see you guys. Oh, actually, before I go, there's a new episode of The Vegan View. We're doing it every single Monday, so if you missed our last episode, I will link that in the description box below, and I will see you guys right back here very soon. Bye!